Welcome back. I'm Larry. So tonight we're working on my 1976 Ford truck. So let's go ahead and take a look. So you may be wondering why the truck is jacked up, and that's because we're going to go underneath and I'm going to show you all the greasing points on these front suspensions. On two-wheel drives, only four-wheel drives are a little bit different, but same concept. So we're going to cover this two-wheel drive. So as far as tools you'll need, you need a grease gun, obviously, and then I like to get a couple rags to wipe the grease fittings off and any mess after I'm done. And I always wear a pair of gloves just because you're dealing with grease, and once you get it on your hands and you start touching things, it gets everywhere. At least with the gloves, you can take it off and it's less mess. So underneath the front end of these trucks, you have kingpins. Kingpin is right in here. They don't have ball joints. This is, for all intents and purposes, your ball joint, but it's a kingpin. It's just a steel rod with some brass bushings. Some did come with plastic bushings, but most were brass bushings up top and here in the knuckle and here and there, and the shaft just slides through. So you have a grease fitting down here at the bottom. You have one up here at the top. And then around the backside, because this is a rear center steer setup, rear meaning that the steer linkage is behind the front suspension instead of being up front, like on the four-wheel drives, for instance. Then you grease them, and we'll get back there after we do this. But we're gonna do the kingpins first, and it's the same for both sides. What I'll do is I'll come in here and wipe off the grease fittings before I ever even put grease in them, and that's just so then you don't push dirt into it by mistake, and also just makes the grease nozzle fit on easier. Now you want to grease these until you see grease ooze out between the crack here, between the knuckle and the I-beam. You can see it's starting to move, where it's pushing that old grease out. I usually give it 4 to 5 squirts. And now you can see it's starting to ooze out. So now we'll come to the bottom one. And same thing, there's a bearing in here. Build up all that old grease in here. There's a bearing right here, and you want to see the grease ooze out between that bearing and the I-beam. Just like that. And again, I like to squeeze out till you see the old grease come out and see the nice new grease start to ooze out. And it's messy, but this saves these kingpins by a mile. These are original kingpins. They've never been replaced in this truck, and it still handles great. There's no looseness in it, no play, because I will grease these. I haven't greased them in a while this time because I haven't been driving the truck as much as usual, or I hadn't been driving as much, but I'm driving it more, so I come through. I like to do them usually at least once a year, if not twice a year. I'll grease everything like this, and it helps save them. And now once that's done, we can just wipe everything off. You're not going to get it completely spotless clean. And truthfully, I need to get in here and clean this up some, but if you ever get all this off of here, it'll just get dirty again, because as it turns, the grease is going to work itself out. So that's why I don't bother ever cleaning it, because this is a driver. It's not a show truck. And so therefore, I don't bother getting all this spotless, because it'll look just like this again. And then you repeat the same steps for the other side. All right, that's done. On the back side here at the steering linkage, we have a tie rod in here that we have to grease. Come over here, and now we have the pitman arm, which is hooked to the drag link. So pitman arm right there. Another tie rod in right there. And then the other outer tie rod in over there. And then that is it for the front end greasing part. Now, because of these are different than the kingpins. You don't want to grease it until you see grease just coming out, if you can help it, because that means you busted the boot. And now it's doing you no good. The boot protects dirt from getting in and keep it from prematurely wearing out. So you want to do it until you just see that rubber boot start to move. You'll see it kind of expand a little bit. When you see it start to move, that's it, you're done. And I see it move just a tiny bit. So when you start to see it move, I usually give it one more squeeze, and then that's it. And that's it. And this one, it's always been that way. A little bit of this one here will come out a little bit. It's a little bit different than the other one. It's made to just kind of sit on top here, where the other one is more of a, it's actually kind of formed around the joint. This one here just kind of rests on top. So it will squeeze out a little bit, which is fine. Always clean up your fittings afterward. It's a lot neater and keeps dirt from collecting around it. Now, because of the center one, you may have to move the wheels one way or the other. Really turn the wheels to the right, so then this will move out that way to get it past this cross member. You might be able to get on it, but you see it's at an angle. Technically, you can get on like that. It's at a little bit of an angle, so if you want a straighter shot to it, you can turn the wheels, like I said, to the right, and then that will move this that way. But I can get on it good enough from this angle, so I'm gonna go ahead and just do it from here. Okay, it looks like this boot must be busted, so I might end up getting a new boot for this one eventually at some point, but it'll be okay. I still greased it for now, so it'll be all right for now. And sometimes you put a grease fitting on here and you see grease oozing out around the nozzle of the grease gun. Hold it tight up against your fitting, and then it'll force it into the ball joint. Oh, my mistake, I forgot. This was so dirty I couldn't see it, I forgot. This is different. It has that metal sleeve under, because this metal sleeve kind of glides along this tie rod in here. So it's supposed to have grease come out the sides there. So that's fine. If a little bit of grease comes out the side, that's fine, because like I said, this metal washer kind of rubs up against this metal ball joint. And then you got a rubber bushing in here as well. I forgot about that. You see what I mean now? You see you got like a metal washer in there and the rubber bushing. And that's, yeah, you want grease to ooze out past this. That's how you know it's good to go. And this is just like the driver's side. You want to watch that boot move. And then once it moves, give it one more squeeze. And that's almost too much, but looks like there might be a little bit of water in there. That boot might be bad. I might have to replace that one too. So we'll go ahead and just squeeze it out to get some good grease in there, because it looked kind of watery coming out. That means the water might have got in there. That boot might have been, might be dry rotted already. So in that case, I would over grease it to force out that water and put grease in there. So I'll have to get a couple boots to replace these at some point. And that's why it's good to check this stuff once a year. You find stuff like that. And really quick, while we're on the subject of greasing things, the drive shaft is another thing. There'll be grease fittings. I've already greased this one for the night. You see right there. You want to grease these kind of the same way. You don't want to over grease them. You see them little blue bushings in here, or seals. When they start to move, stop. Or if you just barely see a little bit of grease come out, stop. Don't over grease them. But you don't want to make sure you grease them. And on this truck, this is the original drive shaft. So it has a 3-piece drive shaft. So you have a U-joint here. And then a center carrier bearing. These are non-greasable, can't grease it. Then you have the spline has a grease fitting right here. And this is really cool because it has a little hole back here. You can see it, that little pinhole. Once it's full, grease will ooze out that hole, then you know when to stop. Then of course, grease fitting there, same thing, U-joint here. And then come all the way to the back to the differential. And another U-joint here. And of course, obviously, if you have a 1-piece drive shaft, then it's just the one here at the differential and then the one at the transmission. Okay, there we go. So that's a done deal. If you didn't know how or weren't exactly quite sure how to grease one of these, in case you're getting into these trucks for the first time and you're new at it, that's how you go about doing it. And that's a good grease job on this, and that'll last a long time. Like I said, I'll do it at least once a year, depending on how much I drive it, at least once a year, if not twice a year. I try to get it done just to keep them kingpins in good working order. There's bearings, there's ball joints, or tie rods, not ball joints, tie rod ends and all that. So I'd recommend, like I said, at least once a year. Now, I thought I had a spare tube of grease of what I use I was going to show, but I don't. I use the Valvoline red high temp grease usually. You can pick it up at your local auto parts store. That's usually what I always use because I just find it works the best for me, in my opinion. So I like it. Plus, old grease, it'll always kind of turn that blackish. You can see some of it being forced out. With the red grease, you can always see when the new grease is coming through. If you get the dark grease, it's hard to tell sometimes when the new grease is pushing through because it's the same color as the old grease. So with the red grease, you can always tell, and that's why I like to use it. And it's high temp, so it's good. It'll last a good long time. But that's a done deal. Happy to have that done. If you like the video, give me a thumbs up. I appreciate it. If you're not subscribed, consider subscribing. I'd appreciate it. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, leave me in the drop box down below. And that's all there is for this one. And as always, thank y'all for watching. So until next time, I'll see you in the next one. Take care.